Yeah, Max, again, appreciate you having me on. I know it's great to be teaming up with you guys too, because I know the people that jump on here, are ready. They're taking the extra step to educate themselves, to take action, to get out there, to start to put themselves in that mindset and really act on it. Those are the people that we can actually help. We're in the end, we're not doing it for them, or a tool to enable them. So, excited to kind of chat with the right people who are in the right mindset here. But again, oh, go ahead, Max.
I was just going to add one last thing, by the way, for anyone that has any questions, feel free at any point of the presentation to put it in the Q&A. If it's relevant to the conversation, I'll stop Matt and ask it. Otherwise, we'll probably just handle them at the end and make sure that all your questions get answered.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, the slides I go through will be that playbook of what our most successful investors are doing to buy right and to find off market deals. They use DealMachine, but if you have DealMachine specific questions, I can also pull up our software. I have that in the background too, to kind of walk you through how to do stuff. But regardless, happy to take general real estate questions all the way through to DealMachine specific stuff. So to kind of give a little bit of context on us of why are we the DealMachine? Like what is that? What's our background? Like, why am I qualified at all to be talking about this? So a little bit about us. We've worked with, at this point, we've had over 70,000 real estate investors use the DealMachine mobile app. We're a mobile app, we're a web app as well. They sync up simultaneously, so you can go to dealmachine.com and access it that way, or jump in on iPhone or Android and use the mobile app and use it on the go as well. But we've had nearly 100 million leads added to DealMachine, so nearly 100 million properties added to the technology. We've had members do deals in every single state. We're a team of about 40-45, and we're the highest rated mobile app out there for real estate investors. So that's highest rated and most reviewed. So we really try to put our proof in the pudding to say, like, hey, the people, we have real customers talking about us. We have people that we can point to say, hey, here's how we have that credibility. Here's how we differentiate in our space and how we're different than anything else out there. So our mission as a company, and this is one thing we talk about often, is we are, anything that we do, any decision that we make, we're putting it through the lens of, hey, we're here to give everyone the power of real estate investing. And, that is our goal. That is our mission. That is, how we build the technology, how we, our entire experience with our company. It's like, hey, we want to make it as easy as possible for people to get in there, find that first deal, get into real estate and start making things happen. Before we begin and really dive into the specifics for this, I want to again get you in the right mindset. Like, who is this webinar for? Who's ready to use this and take action on it? And it's someone looking to buy right. So they're not as concerned about the market. They're not as concerned about waiting and trying to time things. It's regardless. It's, hey, let's get in, and as long as we're buying right, we're buying at a discount. Then, no matter what the market's doing, we're building in that cushion. We're building in things like that to have long-term success. And, regardless of what strategy you're using between wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, no matter what, you are putting yourself in a position to succeed because you're buying right. And that's where you make your money. And then two is, hey, they're looking for less competition on real estate deals and that they're putting in offers on. Like, maybe you have been trying in this crazy market, previously trying to get into real estate, and, you're one of many, many deals or many, many offers out there. And, maybe you're going on market, maybe you're trying a variety of different things to get to, find that first deal. And this is something where, hey, we're going to give you strategies to find deals that no one else knows about. And, being able to do that, you do need to trade effort for a great deal. Like, you do need to trade action to be able to get to that deal. And that's what I'm going to be giving you today, is that playbook of action to take to get to that deal. But it is a proactive approach. It's not something where you're just kind of, passively dumping money into it and having limited upside. And yeah, that's, great to be able to have that, as a, something in your portfolio as well. But what I talk about today will be an active real estate approach to find those great deals and, make things happen in a big way. So awesome. So to kind of begin with, our CEO, David Lecco, he's somebody, I'm here in St. Louis. He grew up in St. Louis. He moved from here to Indianapolis probably 5-6 years ago at this point. Was somebody who had a technology background, moved to Indianapolis, was new to that market, had a job in tech, and was, had read, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he had listened to the Bigger Pockets podcast, and he had, educated himself on the power of real estate, knew that it was something that he really wanted to get into, but just didn't know where to start. And he would go to RIA groups, he'd go to meetup groups. He was new in town, and he'd say like, hey, I'm new to Indianapolis. How do I get started in this? Like, where do I begin? How do I get started in real estate? And what he heard over and over again is, hey, there's this thing called driving for dollars. And, quote unquote, driving for dollars, which to define that term, it means, hey, physically get in your car, physically drive around your area and look for fixer upper properties, like look for properties that need some love, that for whatever reason are just not being taken care of, whether it be, a tired landlord or somebody who, they inherited the property, it's vacant, it's, there could be millions of different reasons, or so many different reasons on, what the situation is behind that particular property. And he kept hearing that over and over again of like, go out there, go direct to seller, go out there and try to find, leads that way. And he said, okay, for his first failure is, what he was doing already is he would just jump onto Zillow. He'd jump onto, somewhere that the MLS even, to go start looking at deals, or start going to look at what properties are being listed out there, being listed to sell. And he realized, man, anytime I put this in any kind of calculation on, is this going to cash flow? Is this going to be a good, something that other people are going to help fund? Like, the numbers would not work out. And when he did get to a point where, okay, the numbers do work out, there was just so much competition that he just couldn't win that deal. He was not in a position where he was finding deals that other people weren't. So his next step was, okay, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to start creating a list of properties. And he would use software to do that. He'd use a variety of things like List Source, all kinds of stuff, where he'd go on and just try to pull a list of properties that fit a very broad criteria. And when he would start reaching out to those people, he realized, man, I'm still one of 20 investors that they're hearing from. Like, I'm one of many, many people who are reaching out to this particular property owner just because they fit some kind of filter, some kind of criteria that is not super qualified. That was the second failure, going on market. Number two was he was, not being able to find the right leads. And then failure number three is when he did find the right leads, when he did listen to his friends and start going out there and looking for those fixer-upper properties, he would, he would drive around, he'd write down the address, he would, have a little yellow notepad next to him with all these different addresses and try to look up information about that property and try to figure out, hey, from the, what is the situation behind this owner? Is this a property that, might, or an owner that might be looking to sell it, or is this a motivated seller possibly? When he was going through that, he would then, okay, cool, I qualified everything, I've written that down, I've got it all tracked. And now I'm going to send one postcard and, write down his little letter, send it to that person. And was like, okay, sit back, waiting for the call. They're going to call me any day now. And he realized, man, I was going through that. I would find these fixer upper properties. I find these properties that just weren't being taken care of. I drive by it a couple months later and it had sold, but it wasn't to me. It was, he'd drive by and be like, man, how did I miss that one? I literally sent them a postcard. I was on their radar. There couldn't be that many people that know about this property. What's going on here? And he realized his third failure was not proper follow-up. So he was, initially going on market. He was, secondly, going way too broad in terms of who he was reaching out to. And then third, when he did find the right lead, he was not following up. He'd send one postcard and, hope for the best. And really, those failures over and over again, it was costing him time, costing him money, costing him those properties. Like he was figuring out like, hey, where do I go from here? And really the two main lessons that he learned from this experience that led to the birth of DealMachine was, one, that the best deals come when you go direct to seller. So not going on market, going direct to seller to properties that no one else is approaching. that, deals that no one else knows about, that no one else really has easy access to, because you can't just go on a list and say, hey, show me all the properties who have a, a tarp on the roof, and can't just pull that really easily. Him going through that whole process, he realized, like, man, that's where the deals are. Like, that is where I can find properties and buy them at a discount, buy them right, and set myself up for long-term success with real estate. And then the second thing he learned about was, okay, to be able to find those deals and do it consistently, I need a proven process to talk to enough sellers that I can find the right ones that are, they're in a spot where they are ready to sell, both the timing wise, and they're willing to trade speed, convenience, and you solving a problem for them for a discount. They're willing to trade that and not want to deal with an agent, not want to deal with on market, not want to deal with everything that comes with listing your house like that. So, and for him as well, he's looking for a process that works in any market, regardless of physical location or how hot the market is, how slow it is, how, regardless of what's going on, like, hey, what's something I can do over and over again, buy right anywhere, anytime. So that was where he came up with DealMachine, is this driving for dollars idea. That concept's been around for decades. It's been around forever. It's physically getting in your car, looking for fixer-upper properties. And the main reason behind it being, again, these are deals that no one else knows about because, you found them yourself. They're not just popping up on a list of you pulling some broad criteria. And then two, they are also properties that you're able to, really get the best bang for your buck because no one else knows about them. And you're able to really look for these properties that are these diamonds in the rough that, you're able to consistently, find over and over again by putting the right processes in place. And how he would put those processes in place is he would take technology, he took his technology background, developed out a really simple app that was literally driving around. He would tag a property on his phone. So he would, hit that address on his phone as he was driving around. The DealMachine app's come a very, very long way, is what it used to look like, which so it's like version 1, him programming it himself because he had that tech background. He's not a designer, but he could at least make it work. And he would just tag those properties. And then the next step is he would actually send postcards to them over and over and over again. So you can see here, like, status mailed eight times every 21 days. So what he would do is he would allow the app to tag that property and then hit send mail and ping that once every 21 days to automatically send a postcard to that house. And, the crazy thing is that when he would do that, when he would find the right deals or find the right leads, he would go direct to seller. He wouldn't pull a bulk list. He would create a niche list, and then he would consistently follow up with them. He started to see deals like 7132 Grandview come through, where he purchased it 44K, had a renovation on it. Now, monthly rents at 1750, cash flows at 1,000, and the current value is nearly 200K, with a third of that being equity right off the bat. And he did this back in 2017 is when he first started to do this. And he would repeat this process over and over and over again. He got 7132 Grandview. Here's the before and after picture. Then 7114 Grandview. Similar numbers in terms of purchase, renovation. He did a cash out refinance, did the BRRRR process, had monthly income from that, cash flowing. It has a current value of nearly 200K again, and equity of, around 70K. And he did this over and over again until now he had, 9 properties, had nearly $1.5 million in value from that, equity of it, nearly 600K, and had a monthly cash flow income of over 10K a month. And he was doing this part-time. He was doing this while he had a job in technology. He was using the DealMachine app to be able to make it a process that he can repeat over and over and over again. And he started having people ask him about it. They're like, how the heck are you doing this? Like, he went from 0 properties to 10, pretty quickly in Indianapolis. And that's where, DealMachine got its start. He listed it on the App Store for other people to download it. And like I said, now we've got, over 70,000 members served. We're the highest rated app out there for real estate investors. And, we want to be that go-to tool to get you into real estate. So, here's what it started to look like to begin with. You would, again, tag that property, reach out to the owner, you would start to evolve a little bit here. And based on our experience of, our most successful investors, which we have about 130 or so at this point that we've interviewed on our YouTube channel and sat down with them one-on-one and said, like, they're all 130 are people who have landed deals using DealMachine. And we said, what is your process? Like, what are you doing to get out there? How are you leveraging technology to, land real estate deals today? And that's, over a couple of years, we've gone through that. And I've tried to distill that down, that their advice, their playbook, into a simple 3 steps for what our most successful real estate investors are doing to give you that playbook. I mean, regardless of using DealMachine or not, this is what they're doing to get out there. Technology is going to make you more effective and efficient at it, but I want you to walk away ready to get into real estate today. So, any initial questions so far, Max? Anything you've got before I jump into this?
So I don't think I have any personal questions yet. If anyone does, please put them in the chat box. One thing I will say is the efficiency of having a system behind you is the difference from running a business and running a chop shop. It's very simple well, I shouldn't say it's very simple, but almost anyone could go out there and find one deal eventually that'll be, solid returns and looks like a home run. But your ability to do that over and over again is really your ability to create the business, which is ultimately going to create the cash flow, which is going to, create higher net worths and all that. So I would, again, any day of the week, I would rather take a business that would take a little bit more time to set up, but it's going to have a repeatable business rather than do something today, but it's a one and done type of deal.
Yep. And in the playbook I give today, like, this is something you can run with yourself, but then you can start to outsource it, like you said. And I mean, that could be a whole other follow-on talk too, of like, how do you scale a team and all of that. So yeah, this is I'll jump right into it. It's great. So 3-step playbook. We'll start off. First one is finding the right leads. So it's building that list of leads, not the ones that are on market. You need to find the leads that are, ones that, again, physically distressed properties. Like, physical distress is the number one indicator of a motivated seller. And that could mean, hey, anything as obvious as a tarp on the roof, or gutters falling off, or siding that's having issues, or it could be just outdated, like a window AC unit or things like that. It could be hey, this time of year it's super overgrown grass, it's very overstuffed mailboxes, things like that. I know our first hire at DealMachine, when he landed his first deal using the app, he added a property that had Halloween decorations up, and it was like March. So just things like that, where it's like, something's a little off about this, like whatever reason, this owner is just not keeping up with his property. So things like that, over and over again, it's finding those leads that no one else can easily find, because you put in the sweat equity, you've gone and looked for those deals that other people aren't. When you're picking out those, you're creating a niche list that you own that no one else does there. And you're finding these properties, instead of one amongst the crowd, you find the individual houses that are really the motivated sellers. So step 1 to get there is simply get out, drive. You can bike, you can walk, you can do whatever you want, but transport yourself around your neighborhood, around your area, and add your first 100 properties to a list. And again, in DealMachine, you can just click, it pops up as a map. You've got black dots all around you. You click them to add that property as a lead within your system. But why we say 100 properties, distressed properties, is that's really the threshold that we find, and the data tells us is where the tipping point is. Like, if you can go add 100 properties, that is where you're going to start to really build the right habits to do this over and over and over again. Because in the end, it is a numbers game. Like, it is like you said, Max, there's a funnel here. Like, you need to fill the funnel with the right number of qualified leads. And if you do that, you're going to lead to conversations, which will lead to contracts, or appointments, and then contracts. And then, you can, and deals in the end. And that first 100 will lead you to that consistency. It'll help you start to build the right systems and processes and habits to do this on a consistent basis. And again, the number one thing you're looking for is physical distress. If you don't know where to start, literally start in your backyard if you can. Like, you're gonna know that neighborhood better than most, right? I highly recommend looking at real estate investment forums or RIA groups or Facebook groups and just picking the brains of other investors and, ask them where they invest and really fish where the fish are, like, especially if you're going to raise funding from other investors or if you're going to wholesale the deal or things like that. Knowing where they're already interested, knowing where they're looking can go a really long way in informing where you should go look. So don't overthink it. Just get out there and start adding leads like that. One pro tip if you're using DealMachine. So here's a screenshot of the desktop app. The mobile app looks very similar, just a smaller screen here, obviously. But when you jump in here, you'll see it locks onto your location and you can see all these black dots pop up, and those are all properties around you. So those are all houses that you can just click on that house, hit add lead to be added to your list, and then take action on it from there. One pro tip I have here is getting better leads using data. So this button right here is a highlights button. And when you click that, you can actually filter down properties based on different criteria. So you can say, hey, highlight everything around me that is absentee owned, or that is high equity, or it hasn't been sold in 30 years, or, whatever the criteria might be. And you can make it even really, really complex and say, hey, show me that has this criteria, this, and it'll start to highlight those around you. And again, you don't want to just rely on that, because if you only rely on that, you might as well just pull a list, which we also have that option in DealMachine. But the key is to take that next level and say, okay, as I'm driving around, let me see where all those highlights are. I'll pick an area that has a cluster of those. And also, as I drive by those properties, really pay attention, because, if they have all those other motivating factors and they're physically distressed, like, that is a really, really good lead. So you can add that property, you can tag it to say high priority. It's a great way to be able to get out there and find the highest likelihood of being a motivated seller. Another pro tip is we have virtual driving for dollars, actually. So inside a DealMachine, it's essentially clicking for dollars, which it imports the Google Map like street images right there, and it puts it into the DealMachine app for you right there, where you can click around and it'll track your route virtually and show you where you've been. You also can, within the physical app, you can track your routes as well as you're driving around. But, it's great to have a virtual tracker as well, where you can click down the street, look around, look at individual houses. You'll want to make sure that you look to see when that picture was taken, which you'd be surprised. Most markets, it's usually a year or two within, it's pretty up to date like that. And Google's pretty good about it. But as you click around, you can virtually drive for dollars. So that way it's schedule proof. You can do it from your couch while watching football. You can do it, anytime, anywhere, day or night, if it's snowing or not. It makes it really convenient. You save gas money, obviously. Like, you can do whatever you want here on the virtual side. So, we see people even bring in virtual assistants to do this. So that's when you're talking about like building a business. How do you create processes that work? Like, that could be a follow on for sure of how to be able to drive, virtual drive for dollars with assistants. But I think the end goal here is to be able to look for those signs of physical distress, whether it be in, virtually or you driving around. And again, the whole goal is investing in getting your time back as well. So, going in here, and I know our pro level plan and up will track your routes like this, where it'll show you and say, hey, you can either you yourself drive, or you can add somebody to your DealMachine account. And, here's an example of a drive summary from a driver that I've added to DealMachine, who he added 19 leads for me, drove 8 miles and drove for 30 minutes. And I can scroll through and see, the quality of the leads that he added. And, if he, I'll require them to take pictures of the property. So that way they're really, you can kind of do a QA, quality assurance to make sure they're adding good leads. But yeah, investing and getting your time back by investing in technology, by outsourcing, processes, and by doing things like bringing on a driver, adding them to your DealMachine account, and have them, go drive and look for leads for you. So that's kind of step one in the playbook, is finding the right leads. Again, feel free to throw questions in the chat. Always happy to answer that as we go.
Since we don't have any questions, actually, there was a couple of things. There's a couple of things that you said that I just have to touch on because they were so big. The first one is the ability to track. right?
Mhm.
When you're in the industry of real estate, which means that everything is not going your way every day of the week, right? There are definitely a lot of off days in between there. We need to find that line of motivation, right? And being that we're in a numbers industry, being able to go backwards and say, okay, if I have 100 deals in the deal machine, and
Mhm.
that gives me 25 follow-ups, which means that I got 3 appointments and 1 contract out of it. Now I know the next time that I'm going out there, hey, if I just get another 100 of them, I'll get another contract out of it. I now know my numbers and can work backwards with it, which is ultimately the way you want to run any real estate business, right? Being able to come up with a, what's the word? Not a guesstimate, an
Projection.
equation that's a projection, right? I now know what I need to do to get the result that I want. And number
Exactly.
2 is on the virtual aspect, especially if you live in out here in New York or somewhere where it snows a
Yeah.
lot, I can see that being extremely helpful.
Oh yeah.
However, I'm always going to say I would always recommend taking the action, take a walk, take a drive, do something that's going to actually be physical. And the only
Mhm.
reason I say that is because, again, let's go back to motivation, right? We're expecting our sellers to be motivated. We have to be motivated ourselves.
Yep.
And one thing that I've read that actually stuck with me a lot recently is that motivation will disappear. Today, I want to own an empire. If I sleep on that, tomorrow I could wake up and that might disappear tomorrow, right? So the one way to keep motivation alive is by taking action, right? You have a dog. Let's say you have a dog. If day one, you might have not wanted it, but now you're the father, you have to take it in, you start to feed it, you start to clean it, you start to take it for the walks, you're putting time and effort into it. Now all of a sudden you love that dog and you're highly motivated for it. So action equals motivation. Take the time, go out there, do the work. I guarantee you it'll pay off.
Yeah. That, I mean, that 100%. Yeah. I think in the end, defaulting to action like that, which I'll get into here, in a minute, but defaulting to action is what's going to help you snowball that momentum and help you get better and, more excited, experience more success with this, get a lot of little wins, and those build up into big wins. So, yeah, fantastic. So again, first step, finding the right leads. So it's about finding those leads with physical distress, going out there and putting the right processes in place and systems and good habits in place to do that over and over and over again. The second step is to have consistent marketing. And that's the big thing that David learned when he would drive around and have this whole list of leads and reach out to them. And then, months later they would sell, but not to him. It's like he was not staying top of mind with people after that first outreach. And Christina Kraus, who she's one of the top kind of thought leaders in our real estate investing world, she talks about it, that at least 70% of your deals come from follow-up marketing. To give you the real specific stats, 15.59% come on the very first postcard you send. Only, less than half come on the third postcard you send. So if you stop after just one postcard, you're going to miss out on 85% of the deals. 85% of the time you're not sending the right postcard at the right time. If you're stopping after the third postcard, you're still missing out on over half of the deals if you stop there. So having automation, we use technology to make that really easy for you, but having automation to be able to consistently follow up and stay top of mind. And even if you have the right list of leads, being the right, being the message in front of them at the right time, having your postcard be on the top of the pile, or, your number they saved from a phone call you gave them, or from an email or a text or a postcard, or however you reached out to them. Or, if you did send a card, like, hey, maybe it's, they left it on their fridge. You want to be the one that is top of mind at the right time when they are motivated. Within this step, we highly recommend a 2-pronged marketing mix strategy. So there's short-term outreach and long-term outreach. And the combination of those two is what sets you up for success over and over and over again. Like, we have people who have done, literally hundreds of deals using DealMachine, and this is what they preach. They do a combination of short-term, which means quick feedback loop. So that could be a call, a text, an email, a door knock, leaving a note on the door, things like that, where you'll quickly get some feedback on if they're motivated or not, if they're qualified or not, if they're looking to sell anytime soon or not. And then long-term outreach, and that is the postcard. That's the automation of set it and forget it, where you can go in here, and within DealMachine, you can actually send, like I mentioned, you can send a postcard and hit how often you want to send to them. Yeah, here we go. You can hit how often you want to send it to them, and you can put them on a campaign where you can say, hey, send them this postcard once a month, or, we give you 10 templates already ready to go, that include everything from handwritten letters to postcards that put the picture of their house on them to, all kinds of different, variations of it. And you can set it and forget it, where if you have 100 leads and that are qualified leads and you're sending them a postcard once a month, you're putting yourself in ample opportunity to be the one they call when the timing's right. The other side of it is, if you're going to call, text, email the person, within DealMachine, when you add a lead, you have an opportunity to skip trace them as well, which that simply means you ping a public database. It comes back with information around phone numbers, email addresses, anything that they've publicly listed on utilities and things like that before. It helps, aggregate all that information. So you can call them on the spot, you can text them, email them, you can reach out to them right on the spot. So having that combination of, okay, the, one-off outreach, the call, text, email, door knock, and then, the short-term feedback loop, and then the long-term automation of, consistently reaching out to them, those two things together is going to give you that ideal marketing mix and give you the best opportunity to be able to stay top of mind and be the one that they reach out to when the timing is right. Any other questions there, Max, on that kind of like second section here too?
No questions yet. It sounds like you're doing a good job.
Yeah, all good. And then final bit here. So, you've built the right list of leads. You consistently marketed those leads. You stay top of mind. You're able to really do that over and over and over again, using short-term and long-term outreach. Final piece is closing the deal. And how to close the deal means how you manage your pipeline. Managing your pipeline is, okay, you want to have, say, organized one. So know, like, who are you talking to? When do you need to talk to them next? What do your appointments look like? What are your, what is that cadence of times you're calling people back? You're taking notes. You're really being detailed in your conversations with motivated sellers. And your consistent outreach is separating you from the rest. Like you are staying top of mind, where they're having multiple conversations most likely, or they may, they're at least getting probably marketing from multiple different sources. If you can be the one that's very organized, very much not missing deadlines, very much giving them a call back when they ask you to, showing up when they ask you to, taking notes on, their kids and their things about their life, and showing that you care, and being able to track all that stuff, like being able to include all of that in one place is what's going to separate you from the rest. And when you win a deal or lose a deal, looking back at your notes to see the history of what you did, how you talked to them, why you reached out to them, why you drove that area, all of that is going to help you continue to get better and better and better at this, and continue to improve and continue to land more deals. So within DealMachine, you actually have a notes section that you can use. You can add detail to those individual properties and be able to use that as your way to manage that pipeline. We also have a comps tool, so that way, once you're in the room and you're actually talking to people, you drove for dollars, you reach out to them, you got in the room. Now they're like, hey, what's my property worth? What are you going to offer? Being able to show them on the spot, here's what your after repair value looks like, because I, use the comps tool, drew a little circle around this area, did filters on, hey, it's sold in the last 6 months, sold within a mile, sold, similar bed, bath, square footage, all that. It'll automatically calculate for you. Here's what your estimated value is based on the sale prices of all these other houses. And it'll, be able to help you show them in front of them, hey, you've got this much repairs to do, you've got XYZ to do, here's what the end value is going to look like. And you can do the backwards math with them to show them, hey, here's what I can actually pay for and afford, and give you the confidence to have that hard conversation with the seller of what their property is actually worth. So you can do that on the go. We have a desktop version. You can see that here too, but it's on the mobile app too. So all of that is within DealMachine as well. And, the commonality that connects all these things of, finding the right leads, getting out there, creating that list that no one else has, consistently marketing to them, consistently staying top of mind until you get in the room and until you get on, we have a conversation with them. And then from there, managing that pipeline, be able to close that deal because you're staying on top of it. You're not missing deadlines. You have that next step with them. You're taking notes, all of that. The commonality connecting all those things is action first. Like, you're leading first with action. You're not allowing yourself to have analysis paralysis. You're not taking in all this information without acting on it. You're creating, you're starting to create that list of leads. You're reaching out and you're figuring out from there. And the beauty of it too is you have on-demand knowledge. You have, everything from mentors to people you can meet in RIA groups to things like this to YouTube University. You've got everything that you could possibly want to be able to answer those questions when they happen. You can't possibly know the information to all of those things beforehand. Like, you got to take action. You got to get in a situation where you can do that research from there. But the leading with action first is what we see over and over and over again. Goals defining actions, actions defining results, and results can be maximized through that knowledge. But getting to that point of where you take action to even be in a position to look up stuff like that is the commonality we see from people that are successful over and over and over again.
Absolutely, guys. Take action is, if that's the one thing that you get from all of this, it is worth it. But there is so much knowledge that Matt just shared with us on creating systems, how to properly prospect, how to use this system in particular to maximize your results. I actually did have a question or two that came up when you mentioned the comps. So, yeah. So is this connected to the MLS? Like, am I able to see comps in non-disclosure states as well?
Yep. So you've got MLS data and county data. So you can go either way. Obviously, MLS data is going to be more updated, more active. Like, I would highly recommend going that route. But you've got sold data, you've got expired listing data in every single state, including non-disclosure states.
And the system is not deciding that these are the top 3 results that we want to use. It's actually giving you the ability to choose which ones are the most like kind.
Exactly. So on here, I had a huge radius here. And actually, let me see if I can show you real quick. Yeah, here we go.
That's a massive piece that I've noticed that a lot of new investors have a hard time with, is actually doing comps, right? Sometimes they're looking at a market, they see, oh, there was a home that sold for 500, mine is worth 500. And right. It was actually helpful to be able to see an analysis of the market and see what's actually selling and choosing what's the most like kind.
Yeah. So, like, for example, in the software right here, all the black dots are different properties around you. All the pins are properties that I've marked as leads within the app.
I don't think
do what?
I don't think we see those. We still see the sheet that says finding the right leads.
Oh, here, let me see. Let me try to switch this over again real quick. Screen share. Okay. Can you see this now?
Yes.
There we go. Okay, perfect. So all of the black dots right here are all on the map. Those are all different properties that you can, click on and see this one's corporate owned. You can see, okay, owner occupied, see more data around that owner, sale price, equity, all of that right there when you click into it. And then if you see these blue pins are properties that I've added to my list of leads already. So that's kind of what those look like on the map. These blue circles right here. So those are properties that have an MLS active status within the last year. So you can click on that and see this was sold right here. And you can see, okay, this was sold in July 2021. Days on market, you can see sale date, listing agent, all of that MLS data right there aggregated for you. When you ask about comps, so if I'm jumping in here and say, yeah, let me find here owner occupied, I'll add a lead, I'll jump into that lead. And then if I go to my comps tool right here, you just click comps, and here, let me expand this for you guys. You can see really quickly, hey, I've got, all these different properties around me that fit that particular criteria. You can change out the filters to show different square footage, sale date, year built, bed, bath, and 1 mile around you. And then you can get in there and really get very specific. So if like, hey, when I start drawing, this area is what's much more comparable to my particular neighborhood. And as you do that, like you said, you'll see, oh, here, let me scoot back here. I'm gonna try to draw one more time for you guys. So draw right here. Cool. Boom. And you can see, all right, I've got 7 properties right here that are within this area, and you can select and deselect them. So that way you can really pick out the properties that are going to fit best and say, okay, based on that, based on these 3 comps, it takes the square footage, it divides it, by the comes up with that average dollar per square foot amount. And then based on your property, it'll say, okay, with that average dollar per square foot, here is your estimated value right here. So it'll calculate that all dynamically as I click into one, and you'll see all those numbers immediately change. It'll show you on the go, like, hey, here's what, here's confidence around what your property's worth. So
Love that.
Awesome. Let me go back.
I guess while we wait for more questions, if there are any, guys, feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A box. Is this system work also for somebody who is, let's say, looking for multifamily transactions as well, or is this best suited for your single family type of investors?
So you can actually filter by multifamily as well, and filter by number of units and all of that. So that's another option within there. I'd say the majority of DealMachine members are single family, but 100% multifamily is we have people doing that as well. So and land too. So you can do a variety of types of property. So
probably see a couple more of those coming up soon, because ground up construction is booming right now.
Yeah, it's not
went down drastically.
Yeah, I mean that'll do it. So yeah, so to give you examples, like I mentioned, people have been doing, like Ryan Haywood, for example, in just north of Kansas City, Missouri, has done over 200 deals using DealMachine. He had done zero real estate experience in January of 2020, did a 30-day wholesale challenge. A guy named Max Maxwell was doing that. And he jumped in 17 days in, he did a wholesale deal, his first contract. He did 72 deals last year using DealMachine, and has done over 200 using DealMachine since then. So it's crazy. Like, for him, he has one driver full time driving around. He uses our postcard templates that we already have set in the app. He's following this system that I gave you guys today. And he's somebody who's gone and he's in our networking groups. He's, speaking all over the place now. He's teaching other people how to do it. He's, been an awesome to see his success and see him do it. It's him and his wife too. So it's a whole family operation. And then Crystal and Dedrick Polite, they're, another wife-husband combo. They did, got DealMachine back a few years ago. He was driving for dollars, used postcards, did 500K in 6 months using that, and now has a over 66 unit portfolio worth $5.2 million. They wholesale, they fix and flip, and they've done this all the way through to now they have a show on A&E called 50/50 Flip. So that, you see people who, go into it, don't have the real estate experience, but they took action. They got out there. They started to be able to teach themselves. They took action and combined that with on-demand knowledge. And, those two things together have led to hundreds of deals for both of these couples. So, yeah, and there you go. There's their show, 50/50 Flip. So definitely look that one up. Great show. So yeah, so for anyone on here that's stuck around, if you're ready to invest in yourself and commit, for a special webinar only offer, if you actually go to dealmachine.com right now and hit a 7-day free trial, that'll be completely free to try us out. You'll have, like I mentioned, over 70,000 DealMachine members have done this. You can use promo code Express. So Express right there, you just add that promo code whenever you go in, and you'll get 100 free skip traces or 25 free postcards inside your DealMachine app. So that'll give you all the ammunition you need to start having conversations, start making things happen, start getting out there, do it for free because you're on that 7-day trial, and then give you, if you go through the website, you're not going to get that. If you go through the site and use that promo code, you'll get all that hooked up for you for free. And that way you're ready to hit the ground running and start making things happen and give you, remove every barrier that I can find on helping you do that. So, happy deal finding, happy to stick around and answer questions here, but hopefully that gave you guys the playbook to get out there and make things happen.
Love it. Thank you so much for all of that information and for the generous offer to everybody. And again, guys, the what's it called again? The theme of the day is to take action, right? So take action now, go online, get started, start building your business, start finding your leads, start finding your properties. If you need any help or questions when it comes to financing, or you found a deal, you have the information now that DealMachine was able to provide it to you, feel free to reach out to us at Express Capital. We'd be happy to talk through the deal with you, make sure it sounds profitable, let you know what you can get financed and what you would need to close on it. We're here to help. We're here to make sure you guys have all the tools you need. Between DealMachine and Express Capital Financing, you should be able to get started right away. And if there's any final questions, please let us know.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate you having me on as well, Max. It's been fun, and I know like I said, like we talked about at the beginning, like exciting time to be getting into this. So definitely always try to share this with people.
100%. Everyone that it's funny because we have this conversation, hindsight is 2020. So everybody right now that completed their refinances and got their cash outs are all excited right now for the market. Don't be that person kicking yourself saying, why didn't I buy a property in 07 and 08? This is your opportunity. Get set up today. Get ready for the market because there will be more deal flows. We already see it coming. And like I said, we're here to help with any questions that you have. Feel free to email us and I will send out an email with that, with the offer for the free mailers and the skip traces so that anyone who is participating today can get set up right away.
Yep. It's DealMachine.com, promo code Express. Here's my email, matt@DealMachine.com. Feel free to use me as a resource too. And appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Everyone have a great night and thank you again so much.
Thanks.